We are sailing through the inland sea en route to the island empire of Japan. The good ship upon which we sail is approaching Miyajima, which means sacred island. So sacred that every effort has been made to avoid a human birth or a human death upon its hallowed ground. Apparently, this custom was the result of a desire to pattern the sacred isle of Miyajima after that eternal realm wherein it is believed there is neither birth nor death. We arrive, and our first impression is the famous torii, a landmark that might well serve as a gateway to Japan. The original purpose of the torii was to afford a resting place for birds in order that they might sing to the gods. Consequently, a torii is usually found before a temple of worship. This is a sacred dance regularly performed before the temple at Miyajima, regarded by the inhabitants as a most solemn event. This historically religious dance usually lasts about an hour, but our time is limited. Leave Miyajima and continue on to the picturesque town of Nara, situated on the principal island of Japan. We arrive at the Nara Hotel. It is cherry blossom time and the spirit of spring is everywhere. Many centuries ago, Nara was the capital of Japan, and although it has lost much of its former glory, it is still one of the most charming spots in the island empire. There are two very good traveler to do in Nara. The first is to feed the sacred deer in the temple park. If you feed them rice cakes, which are apparently a choice delicacy, they will remain pleasant and faithful company as long as the cakes last. The other thing to do is to visit the pavilion of the Great Bell, which has been standing in the park for over 1,300 years. The bell itself is 10 inches thick and weighs about 40 tons. It is the custom for the visitor to pay a small fee for the privilege of ringing it. This act is said to guarantee long life and happiness. At Kyoto, greeted by the ever-present torii. Although the Japanese can hardly be called an unusually religious people, they are very proud of their temples. This is just one of the many temples for which Kyoto is famous. It is patronized alike by the followers of Buddhism, Confucianism, and Shintoism, the three principal religions of Japan. For centuries, has been the center of Japanese culture and refinement. Poets and artists have celebrated its beauties, and it is here that we are afforded the opportunity of studying the native people and the environments which they love so well. We are told that there is no more beautiful type of character in this world than that of the Japanese woman. She is said to be unselfish, modest, and intelligent, a good daughter, a faithful wife, and a loving mother. The Japanese are extremely courteous. In fact, they are often considered to be the most polite people in the world. Suppression of the emotions is one of their chief characteristics. Young men and young women assume a manner of reserve toward each other, from which it has been affirmed that love does not exist in Japan. In no other country, however, do so many dual suicides occur because of unrequited love. We can understand this more fully when we realize that marriages are usually arranged by the parents with little reference to the feelings of the parties concerned. Incidentally, the hairdressing of the Japanese lady is a ceremony of great importance. Once every 3 days, this intricate mass of hair is taken down, shampooed, and put back in place again. Japanese babies are the nearest approach to human dolls that we have ever seen. Here we are introduced to the street musicians who roam about the countryside in gypsy fashion, romantically playing and singing the folk tunes of Japan. This strange group of wandering minstrels illustrates a peculiar custom. When an offense is committed against society, the offenders often go about in this manner, playing popular tunes and collecting money for some worthy cause. We have enjoyed our visit to Kyoto, but the greatest sight in all Japan, Fujiyama, the world-famous mountain which has always maintained the most prominent part in Japanese decorative art. There is hardly an hour in the day that a native son or daughter is not gazing with admiration upon Fujiyama, rising to a height of 12,000 feet in variegated moods of magnificence and splendor. In ancient times, great streams of lava flowed from the crater, damming the rivers and forming a series of picturesque lakes at the base of the volcano. The last eruption was recorded in the early part of the 18th century. As we gaze upon this divinely beautiful mountain, we can appreciate the reason why the Japanese people, always lovers of natural beauty, worship Fujiyama. It is here that the scenic beauties of Japan attain their most exalted heights. And it is here that we say farewell to the island empire.